has had a very crazy life, I suppose. And I think that either brings you further apart or closer together. But we've been gifted with so many what most people would call miracles.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
like not just with me, but with many of my family members, that it's really there's never been a question about a higher purpose or a higher being or like
Okay.
universal consciousness to all of it.
Mm-hmm. This is Dale Cross, and welcome to the audio video podcast Soul Inspire. This is the podcast that features spiritually awakening souls sharing uplifting stories to help you on your own unique soul journey. On this episode, my guest is Michaela Saunders. Over the course of her life's journey, having flirted with death on more than one occasion, she has been gifted a unique perspective of our role in the cosmos and an awareness of the conversation between the universe and each and every one of us. Michaela's spirit has been inextricably drawn to deepening her understanding of this conversation and immersing herself in an intuitive, heartfelt relationship with her human experience. She now finds herself in the blessed position of being able to hold space for others and guide them towards an understanding of their own universal conversation and how it may serve to empower them on their own miraculous journey. She works through the modalities of psychic readings, tea leaf, and tarot, being gifted the potential to tap into her clients' guides and channel the answers they seek. She also practices energetic healing massage in the Okanagan, British Columbia, Canada. She believes there is so much healing available in human touch and connection and sees herself as a divine vessel. Michaela, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's such a pleasure for you to be on this show because I think you have a lot of value to offer. Just simply, even just by sharing your incredible soul journey up until now. So why don't we just start with that? Why don't we head on down to the sort of the beginning of your life? You're a young lady, but a very wise, mature soul, must I say. May I say your age?
Yes, of course.
You're 27 years old, although, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to think you're talking to a priestess on top of a mountain here. This is what I know. And I'm not saying that to patronize. I'm saying that she seems to hold a lot of wisdom. And a lot of that wisdom is coming from the incredible soul journey she's had up until now. So let's get into that. Let's start out with, do you have any kind of spiritual background, Michaela?
Yeah, I came into this world with a bit of a bang, you could say.
Okay.
As soon as I was born, I had a lot of health complications, which basically my nervous system was a bit out of whack.
Okay.
And I would stop breathing and start crying and not be able to stop myself. I also had 3 surgeries as a newborn baby.
Oh my God.
I was sent home at about 8 months with the expectations that I wouldn't make it to see my first birthday.
Whoa.
And yeah, I managed to surpass that because I have quite the extraordinary family and support system. But
Beautiful.
yeah, very honored to be here.
I'm very honored that you are with us and that you made it. You made it.
Thank
worked.
you.
You're still
It
here.
worked.
Exactly. So obviously you've got something to share with humanity. But before we get into all of that, I really want to go through just share some of the. Why don't you go a little more into detail? Because you said you've had that's kind of like a near death, or do you want to share some stuff about that?
After that, around the age of 3, I was in a major car accident, and a lot of my brothers and sisters came out with miraculous healing after that, actually.
Wow.
But in my case, I was thrown from the vehicle and my head was split open,
Oh my God.
and they had a difficult time finding me. And when they did, they rushed me to service because it was at 100 Mile and out of service at that time. And then I was airlifted to the Alberta Children's Hospital. They stapled my head shut and I was on life support and
Oh my
in
gosh.
a coma.
Mm.
I was asked to take me off life support and donate my organs,
Oh.
in which case my mother thankfully said no.
I am so glad that she said no.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because now we're having this lovely conversation. That's one thing. And
Yeah,
so that experience that you went through, so how old were you when this happened?
I was 3
You
and
were
I was supposed to be a vegetable after that, but I woke up with full brain function,
so
which
there you
was
go. That's a
pretty miraculous
miraculous.
again.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow. Well, everything happens for a reason. So
exactly.
do you
Yeah, I
want to,
highly agree with that.
yeah. So do you want to share so share a few details, few more details around that. Like I've had a few guests on the show
Mhm.
that have actually, when they've had what you call near-death experiences,
Yeah.
and they've actually had some quite dramatic experiences. It seems like the consciousness carried on and they had some. So I want to know if you had, did you get a glimpse beyond the veil? Do you have any memories of that? Or what was that about? What was that like?
After those experiences, I was like really instilled with this sense of gratitude for being here at
Mm,
like a very young age. I also kind of I I was kind of like a little adult in a child body.
okay.
Yeah,
So
but it
wise
wasn't
beyond your years.
always. Yeah, I was a little too serious.
So, ladies and gentlemen, just so that she feels comfortable with what I said at the beginning, I was not trying to be patronizing. I really mean that. I've had some incredible conversations with this lady. And even though I'm the big 50 and you're 27, it's like I'm talking to someone in a similar age range as myself.
Yeah,
It's
I
really, really
appreciate that.
cool. Yeah. So that's why I said that. So I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just trying to say
No,
what's genuine.
I've often been mistaken for a lot older than my age
Yeah.
portrays.
So you believe this is possibly directly related to the situation you went through? Yes.
Yeah, I I didn't really step into my spirituality, I
Mm,
suppose, until
mm,
I was a little older,
sure.
but I definitely stemmed from those experiences.
Hmm. How cool. So do you have a lot of memories around those experiences, or like, can you share a little bit about, go into more detail on that if you feel comfortable?
Yeah, I have a bit of flashbacks and um I mean, I was in and out of the hospital for the first 10 years of my life.
Wow, that's really challenging.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
So
mean,
that,
it was just a way of life for me. I didn't know any different,
wow.
but that on top of a lot of other experiences that my family has gone through really
Hmm.
like shaped me into the person I am today.
Hmm.
It wasn't really until it was actually around the time that I moved to Kelowna from Alberta
Okay.
when I was 9 and I started to take my health into my own hands and learn about my body and started to have that conversation with my physical being.
Fantastic.
What feels good for it and what doesn't. That like
Nice.
really took off like the train to my psychic abilities and opened that door.
Very good. Very, very
Mhm.
good. Okay. So do you want to go into share a little bit about some of the, so you said there was a number of experiences you had with your family. You
Yeah.
want to share any experiences that you feel were particular catalysts for your spiritual evolution and placing you on the path that you're on now?
And
Is there
I don't
anything that
know if
comes to
I
mind?
would know where to start.
Oh, okay. Okay. Just pick one out of the handful, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, My family has had a very crazy life, I suppose. And I think that either brings you further apart or closer together. But we've been gifted with so many what most people would call miracles.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
like not just with me, but with many of my family members, that it's really there's never been a question about a higher purpose or a higher being or like
Okay.
universal consciousness to all of it.
Hmm. Was there any religious background in your family or not so much? Was it more
Um,
spiritual?
Before I came along,
Big
my
family.
family,
Big family.
yeah, I have five brothers and sisters, and I'm the fifth of six.
Wow.
So before I came along, my family was religious. They went to church,
Hmm.
and then they had a bit of a falling out with the church and
Okay.
took dove more into a spiritual path, you could say. So I didn't get to experience as much of the religious side of things as my brothers and sisters did,
Oh, okay.
but they were there was that influence always when I was a child. My
Hmm.
mom was raised really Catholic as well.
Okay.
So there was always talks of angels and God, but I suppose it was a little more spiritually involved by the time I came about.
Wow, aren't you lucky? That might be a
I
good thing.
really
Yeah,
am
yeah,
actually.
yeah. Because you'd have, yeah, because people that make a transition, they call it deconstructing. So
Yeah,
people that go, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being religious, of course, we're not saying
no,
that, but for some people, it's really well, a step on the path. And then when they sort of evolve beyond religion and more spiritual, seems like they have a lot of things that they need to integrate.
yeah, true.
Things like
It's a big one.
guilt and shame, and some things that sometimes some of the baggage that can also come. I mean, lots of good things with religion, but there can be some negative things that come along with that too, like because we're living in duality here. So religion being more of a dualistic bent, there's gonna be maybe some guilt and shame thrown into the mix. I don't know. So, but integrating that. So I'm feeling that maybe you didn't have to integrate as much of things like that. It would maybe be a
Yeah,
bit
not as
easier.
much with religion for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I I still definitely have my share of belief systems that
Sure.
I have deconstructed over the years, but
Yeah.
not quite to do with religion. I've always been curious about religion, so I dove into
Oh,
a lot of it when I was
oh,
little.
okay.
I made my family go back to church for my fifth birthday.
Isn't that interesting? Okay,
But
interesting.
then I realized it wasn't quite it for me
It wasn't quite the right,
personally,
right. Well, you
not quite the right fit.
had to
Mm.
experience that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would call yourself more spiritual. You wouldn't call yourself religious at this point.
Yeah, I would definitely choose to call myself more spiritual for sure.
Spiritual. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So why don't you take us through a little bit more of your journey? Can you think of some other catalysts that have brought you to where you are now?
Yeah,
Any like
I
major
mean,
ones? Maybe there's a lot, but maybe some ones that are more major touch points in your life.
there has been many.
Oh,
I think another major one was when I was 16, I took a journey to Hawaii with my brother, and just the two
okay.
of us went.
Nice.
And it was incredibly transformative and
Hmm.
very empowering.
Hmm.
He would always be on my case for for not listening to my psychic abilities. I
Oh.
Before that age, I tended to seek a lot
Mhm.
of other people's wisdom. Like I would always be into
Mhm.
readings and healings and all sorts of things like that, but
Yep.
people could never quite read me,
Oh,
which was
you were
hilarious, but true.
really so you'd go for a psychic reading, but it wasn't correct. It didn't line
Yeah,
up with you.
they would never be able to.
So you had there must have been some energetic boundaries around you, or they weren't good
Yeah,
psych,
I
or they
had
weren't
a
real.
very fierce spirit who was like,
Ah,
"You will not be read until you start to embrace that gift." So,
oh, interesting.
Yeah, I have,
Okay.
I suppose the universe, in my opinion, speaks very loudly to me. And when I don't listen, it's a bit of a slap in the face.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
which
hear
I'm
you.
okay with.
I hear
I
you.
mean, it's all good.
Listen, I've been slapped a couple of times for not listening to the universe as
Right?
well. So, yeah, but it seems to be so intense. It has been. Sometimes it gets you back on track. You know?
Yeah. And there's no option not to listen anymore for me.
I feel kind of that way as well.
That's
Although
beautiful.
we've gone through different
We have,
experiences, but yeah,
yeah.
but we still come to the similar, conclusion of so cool. So your brother noticed this psychic gift. This is what I hear you saying.
Yeah.
Your brother noticed that in you, what, even before you did, or kind of along the side?
I've had people tell me that I've had like abilities since I was a young child.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
Which could
it
have.
definitely took a lot of like getting out of my own way and
Hmm,
unlearning
hmm,
as well. Like my dad's side of the family is uh, not as open to that kind of thing. And when I would say that I would see ghosts or
hmm.
beings and stuff like that when I was little,
Yeah.
I would often get told that those aren't real. So I shut
Hmm.
it off.
Hmm.
And then I had to relearn how to open that ability again as I got older.
Okay, so are you able to you're able to see ghosts and things of that nature?
Yeah.
Okay,
I've had
interesting.
some wild experiences
Experiences?
for sure.
Okay. So it sounds like, so your brother was sort of encouraging you to tap more into your gift. Maybe
For
not so much
sure.
from your father's side of the family, maybe not so much, but right? But
Yeah,
yeah.
my brothers and sisters have always been very encouraging on that realm of things.
Nice, nice. I really love that. Okay, so let's back up here. So let's go back. So can you kind of put, just for our audience, oh, and just to explain to our audience, you keep talking about Alberta, Kelowna. Let's explain. This is all in Canada. So, I mean,
Oh yeah,
if
sorry.
you're Canadian, no, that's okay. It's my job to do that as the host. If you are a Canadian, you probably know, but of course, not everybody, because Kelowna is a small city. Maybe not everybody knows around the world. So yeah, so 100 Mile House. Did you say that at one point?
Yeah, which is also a place in Alberta.
Okay, that's in Alberta.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of a Canadian am I? I actually thought that was in BC. Man, I
Oh,
really.
it could be in BC, is it? Maybe I'm wrong.
I think so.
It could totally be in BC.
It's
Maybe you're right.
okay. All right, that's okay. Well, there you
We
go.
were actually on our way from Edmonton to Kelowna, I believe, at that time, but
Okay.
didn't
Okay.
quite make it.
And then your family, no, I guess not. And then your family settled eventually in Kelowna, is that right?
Yeah, when I was 9,
Okay, so
everybody moved
British
over
Columbia.
here.
British
Mhm.
Columbia is the province, Kelowna is the city, British Columbia, Canada. Okay, very good. Which is a beautiful city because it's in the Okanagan, right? Which is a beautiful mountain valley full of vineyards and sprawling. I mean, God, I should be paid by the British Columbia Tourist Society here. I'm like
You
promoting this
should.
thing. I'm promoting this thing.
It is a beautiful place to live.
Send money to my PayPal, British Columbia travel. What would you call that? Travel society? I don't know. I don't know. I
British
don't know.
Columbia tourism, maybe.
Yeah. You know the
You
better
should
me.
you should plug that in.
Yeah. Because I'm like saying these beautiful vineyards. No, but it really does. It really looks like you're in the south of France. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah, it's
there's
a
people here
gorgeous
from the
place
south of.
here.
I'm sure there's people listening and viewing this podcast that live in France or have been to France. If you know how the south of France looks, I'm not talking about the Monaco type of thing. I'm talking about like I'm talking about the palm trees and all that. I'm talking about the vineyards and the beautiful vineyards and the beautiful landscapes. It's amazing.
It is so
It's
beautiful here.
amazing. Okay, so let's go back to that. So how old were you when your brother took you to Hawaii?
Yeah, we went when I think I was 16.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
so that was 11
I
years
got some buddy passes for
11
my
years
birthday.
ago. What's that?
Yeah, I got some buddy passes for my birthday and the two of us went.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I've,
My friends.
Hawaii, I've been to almost every place in the United States, but Hawaii is one place. Yeah, I've never been there. I'd love to go there. So did you go to
It's
Maui?
really special. We went to
Yeah.
Maui and
Mhm.
we took a car and drove around the whole island and stayed on
Oh,
the beach in some hostels.
wow.
It was pretty wild.
That sounds really cool. So
Really
it's more of a
gorgeous. Yeah.
natural adventure.
Oh yeah.
So it's a little
That's
bit
the way
off.
we do it.
Yeah, so a little bit off the beaten tourist typical path.
Yeah. I
Off
wouldn't
that.
have that any other way.
You like the adventure travel, I see.
It's the way to do it.
Yeah, it's more rustic, right?
Yeah.
And you can feel more at one with nature, of course, instead of the concrete and the sidewalks. I get you. I get you. So, okay, so let's go back to that. So when you went to Hawaii, did you, after your brother started encouraging you to
Yeah.
maybe delve more into your psychic gifts, did you start doing that, or did you just, I don't know?
No, I
Where were you
definitely
at?
did start to open that door to that conversation.
Okay.
Um, I have like played with cards most of my life, so that was a continuous thing.
Do
Like
you mean
oracle cards.
oracle cards? So tarot
Yeah.
cards, that type of thing. Okay.
Yeah. But then I
You need
started
to enlighten me. Sorry to interrupt you. You need
sorry.
to tell me about, I have no idea about this tarot cards, all this you can teach. I'm
Yeah.
going to be learning a lot on this podcast. So you can
For
feel
me,
free.
I didn't play with tarot until I was older,
Oh,
but I played with oracle cards a lot when I was younger. And I
okay.
started to meditate
Yes.
for when I was about skipping ahead like 17, 18, I would
Yep.
meditate almost every day with like guided
Wow.
meditations.
Yes.
And I did yoga. I volunteered at a yoga studio here in Kelowna, BC. And
Nice.
yeah, really embraced getting in touch with me.
So cool. At that age, you were already into all that.
Yeah, I started to open the door to my conversation with the universe is a way to say that.
Nice. So you weren't so
Looking
much into the partying and stuff, or did you
not
do
so
that?
much.
Or did you do that too?
Not as much, no.
It's like I'm okay. Oh, sorry about that. I am. Let me just cancel that. Hopefully that, I don't know if people can see that something popped up on the screen from my computer, but that's okay. It's all good. We just fly by the seat of our pants with this podcast. But that's okay because authenticity.
Yeah.
If things pop up on the screen that says Lenovo computer update, just disregard
Now
it.
you know
Okay.
why.
Yeah. It's like, this is, now what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. I remember now. So you're like, you're not going to yoga like sloshed out of your mind with a
Not
freaking
too much.
hangover and all that. Okay, so you
My
weren't really,
body's always been pretty sensitive,
okay,
so
so you weren't really into the
drinking and
whole,
stuff like that
yeah,
wasn't
so you
as
weren't really too into the party scene, but you definitely were getting, but the beauty is that you were getting in touch with who you really are, right?
yeah.
Say that.
I would highly agree with that.
Okay. So you were like, okay, so let's go back now. So you're like 17. Let's carry on the journey. So
Yeah,
you're
so I
doing yoga studio, you're playing with the oracle cards. What
yeah,
other
I
things?
started to work with uh I I don't know what age I started to play with animal totems, but they are probably still to this day one of my hugest speakers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So for my personal journey, I work really strongly with animal spirit totems.
Okay. Do you want to explain to our audience what exactly animals? I mean, some of them probably know, but
Yeah, so animals or birds actually are a big one for me, particularly that cross my path. They all have hidden or very known meanings to
hmm
them.
hmm
And when you look into them and you start to open that conversation, it's
hmm
incredible how that assists you on your journey.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So you can get information through them, or how does it work?
I see it as a lot of guidance through them for me,
Okay. Okay.
and that like their behaviors and how they show up on your path has a lot to do with that as well.
hmm
But yeah, each bird that crosses my path will often have a message to say.
Okay. Do you have a particular bird that crosses most often?
um I bald eagles are definitely my biggest totem,
For
but
some reason, I knew you would say that.
it
I don't know. It was coming
was
into my
just the
head.
vibe.
It's like, this is cool. Like, I know the answers you're going to give before. No, just not one.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. It's like, she's going to say bald eagle was this little voice. I don't know, but
Yeah,
it worked out.
they're the hugest for me. I've had a lot of spiritual experiences with that totem and dreams and visions.
Dreams and visions. So it almost
Mhm.
sounds a little bit like Native American culture.
Yeah,
Would you
I
say?
have so much reverence for Native American culture for sure.
Me too. I just
So,
love
so
how
much.
they are so close to the earth.
Yeah,
And they
they're
look at the
very
great,
rooted.
yeah, like the Great Spirit would be their
Yeah,
name. That would be their name for God, right?
it's true.
Or
Yeah,
source, or however it's a label, right? However you want to label that. Some people call it God, some people call it source. I guess they call it Great Spirit, which is kind of cool. It's like, yeah, the interconnectedness of all things, tying everything together. I love it.
yeah, and I like
Mm.
that belief system resonates with me so beautifully. I
Yes.
was like, my mom has grown up a lot with that culture.
Mhm, mhm.
She has foster siblings, and
Oh.
yeah, so we
Mhm,
have
mhm.
been gifted a little bit of an in there. I got to go to powwows when I was little,
Oh,
which was
cool.
such an incredible gift of an experience and so powerful.
Tell us about that. Like drum circles, those types of things?
In Kamloops, they hold a very large gathering,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of dancing and
Mm-hmm.
drumming, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're very immersed in that culture, and it's like it's one of the most humbling, honoring experiences to witness.
Beautiful. I would like to try that.
Yeah, I highly suggest
Yeah, one of my
it.
friends, yeah, because one of my friends says that he goes to a sacred drumming circle,
Beautiful.
kind of like a meetup group. So that would be kind of cool to check out. Yeah, I'm always
Yeah,
looking at new things like that.
I
Very
have
interesting.
friends that are really gifted in drumming too, and it's such an honor to witness. It's powerful,
Yeah.
powerful healing there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Raises the vibration, right?
Yeah, very clearing
I
too.
mean, drumming, yeah. Even clapping apparently can clear things and people's
Yep.
feels and stuff. I just was watching something on the Gaia network where the guy was like, you can clap stuff up. I'm like, wow, that's cool, because I was actually doing that. Because
Gorgeous.
I felt, yeah, like I felt it was weird. I was walking through my living room one day and there was this sweeping stuff coming over me and things that I was like bringing into my field. And then it was like clapping it was like I was clearing stuff or something. And then suddenly I turn on Gaia and there's other people doing this. I'm like, okay, I must be on the right track.
That's so amazing. I love that.
Yeah,
I
like
think that's beautiful.
sometimes I get a dream. I'll ask spirit, what can I do to clear this? I don't know,
Yeah.
emotional baggage or whatever. And then one night I had a dream. I went to sleep, and as I was dealing with a particular challenge of something that I wanted to integrate, some energy I wanted to integrate and clear. But I was kind of, I felt like it was I shouldn't use the word dead end, but I was like, it's one of those things where you don't seem to be hearing anything anymore. It was like a sort of a dark night of the soul. It's like, oh, I'm not hearing anything. But then I said, if you want, spirit, you could, you just give me a dream.
That's
Give me
beautiful.
some wisdom in the
I
dream.
with dreams as well, actually. I've
Yeah.
had incredibly vivid dreams since I was a little girl.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
share some of that. Because yeah, so what happened, I'll just quickly wrap it up, was that's what happened to me. I got this thing where it was telling me to tap on the top of my head and tap here, tap here, and tap here. And literally telling me tap on each chakra point
Wow,
and
that's
then say
incredible.
I love you to each area to help
Yeah.
balance it. And so and then I woke up and I go, and then I didn't remember it first. Then I remembered, oh yeah, I had the dream where
Yeah.
I was told to tap on each thing, but
That's
I never
beautiful.
read that. I don't think, maybe I did, but
Yeah.
I don't think it was a subconscious mind where I read and I remember. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to see if this is real. Is this, did I just make this up? So I went and looked it up online, and
Yeah.
there's people teaching it.
Wow. See, that's true. That's ironically, me and my friend were having this conversation the other
Wow.
day, how we
Ironic.
were doing that as well. I've like tapped on my body since I was a little kid,
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
out of, I don't even know why, but
Well,
it's really good for
yeah,
clearing
it
energy.
seems like it gets things moving and flowing.
Yeah,
So yeah, yeah, yeah.
clearing
That's
all the
beautiful.
blocks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What was that?
Clearing all the blocks.
Clearing all the blocks. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Well, that's an important thing to do
it
for,
really is.
because then you can move to the next level. I mean, who wants to be stagnant and stuck at one level, right?
It's true. I
For the
agree.
rest of your life. But it's not
That'd
a
be
lot of,
very boring.
yeah, it's all about expansion. It's like some
There
people
is.
say when I die, I'm gonna go to heaven. I'm like, that's great, but I want to expand, baby. I want
Yeah.
to expand. If you're just sitting there and life is perfect forever and ever, I mean, okay, my ego says yes. No more challenges, stable. But my higher
But
self
that
is
wouldn't
like,
be the human experience.
well, no,
Can't have that.
I'm talking about after you transition even. Because
Yeah.
you know
Oh,
how
there you
some
go.
people say when you transition, you just go to heaven and you just stay there forever and you float on a white cloud, right? I mean, cool. But wait a second.
Yeah.
Float on a white cloud forever. I want to expand my soul.
Yeah.
It's like,
Exactly.
I don't know how much
That's
soul expansion.
gorgeous.
I don't know how much soul expansion can be had if your life is
Let's find
perfect.
out.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Now, I'm not saying that's not real. I mean, obviously, for
Yeah.
some people, I believe that when they transition, then if they believe in heaven, and then at least for a
Yeah.
time, I'm sure they could have a white cloud and a harp and all, if because consciousness seems to perpetuate itself.
Yeah.
I mean, according to research, it seems even when we pass away, that consciousness carries on. And maybe the way you were feeling, I don't know, I could be wrong about all this, right? But maybe the way you're feeling upon death,
Yeah.
so-called death, physical
Hmm.
death, where you drop the body, but energy cannot be created or destroyed. So that energy got to go somewhere. Maybe if you believe in just heaven forever, maybe that's your reality and you are on a white cloud with a harp. But I don't know if it would be forever because I don't think any state is permanent except for love.
I agree with that actually.
Love.
I have a lot of agreements with that.
Beautiful. Yeah, so and that's cool. Like people that don't agree with this is just my idea or my feeling. And I always admit I can be wrong. I always say this. I'm not, don't listen to me. Experience yourself, spirituality.
Exactly.
I'm not here to teach people you should do this, you should believe this or that. Oh, forget it. Everybody should be on their own personal journey, which is why
Hmm.
this Soul Inspire is about inspiring you on your own unique individual, your own unique journey. So tell me about some of these dreams you've had. I want to know.
Oh, where to begin?
Yeah, like something that was a catalyst. I like to use the word catalyst.
Yeah. I've had, as I was saying, I have had like very vivid dreams since I was a little child. I
Hmm.
often like wake up from my dream state tired
Oh, wow.
from
It's
like
intense.
as real as an experience could be
Wow.
is like my dream state. It's
Now,
very
have
interesting.
you had out of body?
Yeah,
Have you had
I've had
astral projected where
I've
you've
had
left?
lucid dreaming experiences,
Okay.
and also like I've had a couple experiences where I felt my spirit go back into my body.
Okay.
Hmm.
Is it
But
like was it like a thump?
a bit.
That's what people tell me. I don't know. That's what I've
It
heard. I mean,
actually it is very similar to that for
it's almost
sure.
like jarring
Yeah, it's
for
like,
some
oh my
people.
God. Yeah, it's
Okay,
a bit abrupt.
but you survive.
Oh,
You're
exactly. You're
obviously
golden after.
back in a body and see the thing that always freaked me out about doing that. So I've never had. I mean, I think I've had similar to the lucid dreaming, right? But I've
Hmm.
never actually done that where you astral project, and because I know people that have, and they tell
Yeah,
me
so
it's
do I.
incredible. They can go in real time,
Hmm.
and then later they can ask their friend and were you having that conversation or whatever? And they're like, yeah. I was like, oh, how did you know that? I'm like, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah,
Or I've heard these stories. So, but I've always freaked out about the heart racing part. Like, I don't know if I
mm,
can surrender. But I've also heard that some people don't go through that heart racing thing just before they leave, where the heart chakra is like poo-poo, poo-poo, pa-pow, pa-pow. Some people just pop out. And it's a
I
very
wouldn't doubt that.
comfortable experience. How about you? Do you have the pa-pa, 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 or do you just popped out? You just pop out?
That's a tricky one for me. I naturally have a very high heart rate, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So I'm
So
curious what would happen to you then if you,
it's tough to say,
so you don't really remember.
but I don't,
Remember.
I haven't had as much of the astral projection experiences where
Okay.
I'm in this body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've definitely had, yeah, I can feel my spirit doing work as I'm sleeping, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
But in like other planes and
So
realms.
you are having a true multi-dimensional experience.
I suppose so.
Wow, because we all are, I believe. This is what I
Yeah,
believe. This is
I
is
believe
actually
that
what
for
I feel I
sure.
know. However, most people are not really identified into that, so they don't really notice what's going on. It sounds like you're more identified with pure spirit. For you,
Yeah, I would agree with that.
okay. So what's going on in all those dimensions? No, I'm just kidding.
What you say?
I won't freak you out with like a big question like
We
that.
don't need to go into that.
I know, I'm just joking. I wouldn't ask you a question like that. I'm just kidding. What I really am interested in, of course, is your own personal experience. It's not about asking all
Yeah,
these highfalutin questions, because we all gonna find out on our own anyway.
it's
We're
true.
all gonna know one day, right? So at least that's what I know to be true for myself. So, okay, so do you want to describe? So you said you haven't had too many astral projections. Do you want to describe the one that you had where you actually left your
Um,
body? Can you remember that, or?
it's a bit of a blurry memory, but it was around, I was a teenager at that time.
Uh-huh.
And I base time is such a weird thing in my brain because I do not believe it's a universal law.
Okay,
So
you mean
because
time
time is like
itself?
so planetary, like to our Earth, that
Mhm.
it's so different with like our spirit self, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so can I just
Yeah,
paraphrase? So I think what you're
of
tell me,
course.
correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're talking about here in this 3D world, we have what's called linear time.
Mhm.
But it's kind of like in the fourth dimension, 5D, all of this, it's non-linear. It's more
Yeah,
like a circle. It is a circle. It's like a circle of life, whatever you call it, or infinity. And it's kind of like it's like time is like an illusion that we need to experience sequential events so we can make
yeah,
sense of things in the 3D reality. Would you agree with that?
I agree with
So
that.
it's like necessary on the level of the 3D, but
Yeah.
when you connect with the essence of who you really are, this
Mhm.
multi-dimensional being, as you say,
Yeah.
we're no longer there, are we? We're not dealing with linear, we're dealing with non-linear, more like a, so you seem
Yeah.
to be more
I agree with that.
identified with non-linear.
Exactly.
Oh, well,
So
that's a beautiful
when
state
I
to be
look
in.
back,
Mhm.
it's like I have a 7-year-old son. So when I
Yes.
look back, it's like before Eli or after Eli.
Oh, okay.
It's
Before,
an interesting thing. But
that is interesting.
this experience was before Eli. And I was probably around I was a teenager for sure. But it I've had like a couple experiences where I dream the same dream as somebody else, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then as I wake up, it's like you get dropped back into your body.
Do you talk to the other person and find out, did you have that dream? Yes, I did. Did you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Oh my God. That's
I'm very open.
interesting. No, but that's interesting.
Yeah,
So you get the confirmation that you and somebody else have had a shared dream experience.
experience. Yeah,
How cool is that? I don't know
yeah,
if
it's
I've ever, I
very
don't,
interesting.
yeah, I guess I have heard about that. I don't know that I've experienced, maybe I've dreamt the same dream as thousands of other souls. Who
Yeah,
knows?
but
I just,
yeah,
I
I
just,
suppose not everybody has those conversations.
no, for sure not. And I think
Mhm.
that that it's because I mean, if yeah, it makes sense though, because if we truly feel that life is we're all connected, we're all one, why
Mhm.
not? I bet you
Yeah.
I bet you we've all dreamt, I bet you everybody in the planet has had shared dream experience, but of course it's not something that we don't say, hey, did you dream this last night? Yeah, so did I. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not something you do every day, right?
No, it's fair. Unless you're me.
Yeah, unless you're more of a spiritual bent,
Yeah.
having, stepping into uh spiritual growth, being on this
Mhm.
trajectory, this particular path. But if you're
Yeah.
just in the ways of the world, which nothing wrong with
Then
that either,
probably not.
drinking, partying, nothing wrong with that stuff. It is what it is. It's part of the whole unfolding of your wonderful soul. But probably people that party and drink and do all that stuff, no judgment intended. They probably don't, when they're drinking, they go, oh, did you have a spiritual experience last night in your dream? Probably not.
Yeah. Not
So
likely.
they're probably like, hey, how about that football game?
Yeah.
Something else.
That's true.
Nothing wrong with that either. I'm sure we've all been there, done that, or whatever. So a
I
lot
like
of
my
us.
fair share of hockey games. It's fair.
Yeah. Well, we're Canadians, right? We love hockey.
Yeah.
There you go. Can't live without that, right? So yes, okay. So very, very cool. So you can't actually remember what happened in the dream, but that doesn't really matter because what you're telling me
Yeah.
is
I've
you had
had
a
it's
shared.
hard to like remember them all, you know?
Sure. No, you don't need to go into
Yeah.
all that. Just wanted to know a little brief snippet. And now I'd like to know a little bit more about, so let's go back to your let's flash back in linear time to your early 20s.
Mhm.
Was there any catalysts happening there for you that was really helping
Yeah.
grow your soul? What was happening there?
Well, when I was 20, I had my son. And
Mhm.
well, to be honest, birth and death are also a huge part of my medicine here.
Okay.
Um, I have a very different conversation with death than the average person.
Mhm.
And birth is something that I'm incredibly passionate about and love to share my in my I guess knowledge with other women who are looking to have a child.
Nice.
But I was gifted with the knowledge of free birth and
Free birth.
free birthing,
Okay.
unassisted birthing.
Oh, okay. You want to share a
Yeah.
little bit about that? You can.
So it's uh, having a baby without a doctor or midwife present. And
I've
although
never.
I had, like, my family was there, but
Mhm.
yeah, no medical professional.
Oh, I've never heard of this. This is
Yeah.
this is new. I mean, I've heard of doula. Doula? Do you know
Yeah.
doula?
A doula is a birthing assistant.
So this
Like
is
my doula was my sister's.
okay. So there is an assistant or something, obviously, there.
Yeah, just
Okay,
not a
yeah.
medically trained one. Like
Oh.
I was close to a hospital and I had all of the things, like I was very safe about it,
Mhm.
but it was the most transformative experience of my life for sure.
So what happened in that experience?
Well, I believe in each moment we are born anew and our old self is like, guys, as long as you can learn to see yourself with new eyes.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I like
thank you.
that. I like that.
But what so when I had Eli, it was that to an extreme of which I just automatically dropped into myself as a woman. And
Mhm.
that was incredibly empowering and kind of like took my psychic abilities and intuition to a whole other level. Like there was less of a filter there, you could say.
Were you in communication with Eli's soul
Yes.
before, even like before he came out, all that kind of deal?
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So
I
was he like, hey, I chose you? And like, tell us a little bit, how
I
does that go? I'm like,
I'm just I highly believe that each baby chooses their parents, you know?
right. I
And
feel that. I feel that too. I feel that too.
yeah, I
Choose
have two little souls that I feel are attached to me. One
two.
that is not here yet, but
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
but
Are you expecting now, or you mean it's some?
no,
Oh, it's something that'll come in the future
yeah,
as a
I
matter
still
of
got time.
Okay. So as a matter of course, I understand.
Yeah,
As a matter of course.
but yeah, I
Mm.
highly believe that those little star beings choose their mom and dad before coming in and for very
Beautiful.
specific reasons. But
Right.
yeah, so
Were you
Eli has a
were
very strong spirit for sure.
were you now when you were in communication with Eli? Were you granted access to the knowledge of what the lesson would be and things like that? Like what catalyst he was going to bring, or tell us a little bit
Mm,
about that. Did you just have some basic knowledge? What was the
I
communication like with Eli before?
I knew that Eli would have to be honest, he would have not the easiest path.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that he would come here with a lot of curiosity of death, and that being a really uh I feel like that can be taken in a different way than what I'm saying.
Yes, you might
Yeah,
want to
so
explain that.
I'll explain that better.
Okay.
He asks he asks about that cycle often.
That particular cycle.
Yeah, which
Okay.
also is like in his little Scorpio self.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he is just someone, his spirit is very grounded and
Mm-hmm.
curious, and he has a lot of cat energy. And
Did you say cat energy?
yeah,
I love cats.
he has so much cat energy, that one.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, but I was gifted little bits and pieces of his vibration, you could say, before he came in his little beautiful body.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that is remarkable. I've never heard this kind of thing. I mean, where the mother,
Oh,
no, it's interesting. I've never heard where the
yeah,
mother has communication before her baby is born, like this kind of thing. It's fascinating.
yeah. It's a whole nother can
Ball
of
game,
worms, I suppose.
whole nother ball game.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. So take us through that. So then he was born.
yeah,
And
and
then what are some of the catalysts that have taken you on your journey? I guess to do
so
with him, maybe, or
yeah. After Eli was born, mm, I was really gifted the. I won't go too much into this story, but I was really gifted the meaning of unconditional love
Mhm.
and what that meant through not easy circumstances.
Mhm.
And that really opened the door to holding space for people in a very unconditional, present way.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I really grounded me into my body, which was
Mhm.
also a thing. Prior to Eli, I was a little flighty.
Up in the
I was
clouds?
up in the
Up
clouds
in the clouds,
all the
shall we
time.
say. Right. You
Yeah,
were like bliss, you're in a constant state of bliss.
I was very happy on the outside and up in the clouds, and it
Right.
was hard for me to be grounded, but now it comes a lot more naturally.
So it could be hard to function at some point, right? If you're always
Yeah,
in a blissed out state. I think Eckhart Tolle talks about that. Do you know Eckhart Tolle?
yeah, of course.
He says that I think it was for 2 years or something where he was just in a constant state of bliss, sitting in a park on a park bench or something to the point where he couldn't function anymore. Like
Yeah,
because he was
that's
so detached from the then gradually, he came, I guess he was grounded or whatever.
mhm.
And oh, I've got a message, and he was, started going out, right? And
Yeah,
spreading his message. But yeah, it seems like so it sounds like you kind of went through that for a bit where you're like
yeah,
totally.
it was similar but mine stemmed from because I had so many health complications when I was little,
Mhm.
it was easy for me to detach from my body, like from feeling
Oh, okay.
pain and sensation.
Is that
So it
right?
was hard for me to I had to retrain my brain and my spirit to like stay in, and then that was safe.
Wow.
Which, like, in my opinion, you can't really channel information if you're not fully grounded in your body to begin with.
Right. And that's part of what you
Yeah,
do for people. You do channel information, don't you?
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
and we're going to get to that for sure. We're going to get to that. Okay, so continue on from there. What was some of the what was so un so the catalyst that you had in your early 20s, what I hear you saying was putting you in touch with or connection with unconditional love. That seemed to be a
Yeah.
big lesson, a big,
It was a big one for me, and
yeah.
really learning boundaries and how those are beautiful and a form of love for everybody involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really allowed me to step into the space of holding space, to be fair.
Wonderful. Okay, so how about let's go to your mid-20s now, which is a couple years ago. What were some of
Yeah,
the catalysts for your growth there?
I
The Soul Inspire podcast is brought to you by DaleCross.net. Discover the freedom, bliss, and ecstasy within you. At DaleCross.net, I can help connect you with your soul's purpose, passion, and mission. Your soul signed up for something great. Discover what it is with the tools I offer. Book a free one-on-one consultation now at dalecross.net and live your greatness.
I suppose, well, if we backtrack a little bit,
Yeah.
I really started to dive into my readings in my early 20s.
Okay.
And I started to offer them to people outside of my little circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I actually started with healing massage, and then I moved to tarot and
Mm-hmm.
then tea leaf. But that really opened a whole other door again.
Okay, tell us about that.
Yeah, I suppose that that conversation that have with the universe just got stronger and stronger. And
Okay.
on a daily basis, I really live my life that way. Like, I live my life with the expectation of listening to whatever the universe tells me in all sorts of different science, like numerology, uh, spirit totems, dreams are huge. All the bits and pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay, so you've built a practice for yourself. Tell us about that. So you're doing readings. So you started out with your friends. I think that's typical. Like a lot of people start that way,
Yeah.
and then you realize, hey, I've got something I can share with the world here.
Yeah,
This is that.
exactly.
And I guess you expanded locally in Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. Is that what you did initially? Or
Yeah. I initially just like expanded by word of mouth,
yeah.
and it's like starting to grow from there. But
Mhm.
I was given really strong guidance that that was a strong part of my path.
Mhm.
And I held a lot of medicine, you could say, in my
Mm,
readings,
nice.
especially, yeah, especially tea leaf. But it was, it, it, it was an interesting journey. I started, I originally started doing massage on my eldest sister who
Okay.
she has Lyme disease.
Okay.
And when she was pregnant, I massaged her a lot
Mhm.
and started to dive into energy work with that and
Nice.
got pretty good at it
Yeah, good for you.
as a result. So
Yeah.
it
So you got amazing results.
yeah, and it was when I like started to feel comfortable and confident in like getting out of my own way to allow that energy to like flow through me.
Mhm.
that I was able to start to offer it to other people.
Did you notice that like, I've noticed this with myself, even I'm sure a lot of people have noticed this on the spiritual path. When you come into contact with your soul's purpose, passion, and mission, right?
Mhm.
Which is what I help my clients with, coming into connection with your soul's purpose, passion, and mission. One of the things that happens is at first you're really excited. Wow, I feel it. I know my mission.
Mhm.
But then the ego tries to come in and hijack that,
Yeah, for sure.
because to keep you in your comfort zone, to keep you from moving forward. Did you have to deal with that?
Oh yeah, there was a huge space of like, this is, I mean, it's incredibly out of the box what I do.
Okay. Yeah.
And also it was a lot of building my confidence around that and not
Mhm.
letting my head get in the way,
Yeah.
especially, to be honest, being so young, like that
Okay.
can be taken in the wrong way. When people are receiving a reading, they're a little taken aback by who's on the other side sometimes.
Oh, how do you mean?
I think there's a bit of a stigma, you could say, around people getting psychic readings from like
Younger people?
women who are like, they expect someone who's old or
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, that makes
yeah,
sense. That makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, because you're
So they
27 years old. But as I
don't
said at the beginning,
expect,
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, they
You,
don't expect me to be able to tune in as
yeah.
well as like someone
Mm.
who was like 50, you could say.
And yet age is it's it's a non sequitur, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know what that means,
It's
but
a we'll go with it.
do people understand what I mean by that? Because I don't even know what's the meaning of non sequitur. It's a non-issue. I don't even know. That might be the wrong terminology for it. What I'm trying to say is it's a non-issue in the realm of spirituality.
Exactly.
We're in the timeless, right?
Yeah,
So
I
that,
highly agree with that.
yeah. So someone like yourself, 27 years old, but you can have the same wisdom as a 50-year-old or as a
Yeah,
60-year-old.
and I think that's like part of where my high amount of life experience really comes into play.
Yes, because you've been through a lot of
Mhm.
intense experiences, right? Which has prepared you
Yeah, and
to now you
it's
can help
gifted
people.
me a
Yes.
lot of perspective, which I believe is one of our
Fantastic.
most powerful tools as a human.
Indeed, indeed. Okay, you want to tell us a little bit about so you do the readings. Now you do this thing called tea leaves. Can you explain to the audience what tea leaf reading is?
Yeah, it's another modality of a psychic reading.
Hmm.
So basically, the leaves make images on the cup, but what I do is
Hmm.
not logical at all.
So you have your own spin.
I have very much my own spin.
Very good. A
Some tea
unique
leaf
voice.
readers will section off the cup
Hmm.
and say, like, this is like, they even read it astrologically and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But basically, when I read a cup, it's me just getting out of my own way.
Sure.
I almost swore there.
Oh, really? That's okay. Well, bleep it
But
out. No, I don't know. If we have to. If we
yeah,
have to.
if we have to. Just
Otherwise,
like really get
authenticity is best. Authenticity.
yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Right.
just like me really getting out of my own way and allowing that channel to come through.
Mm.
And like, basically, I'll just give an example. Like, I'll see a dog in a cup, and for someone that'll mean one thing, and for another person, it'll mean something completely different. So
Oh,
it's literally zero logic.
okay. But you feel a resonance with it and you know what it means
Yeah,
at the
it's
moment.
literally just comes through in that moment. Often when I'm
Got
done
it.
a reading, I don't necessarily remember what I have said
Yes. Right.
because there's zero logic involved.
Hmm.
Sometimes I need to like play a little bit in my wording and
So
stuff like that,
it's
but
more symbolic sometimes.
yeah, yeah, for sure. You
Right,
could say
right.
that.
Okay, so now you do the tea leaf readings, and what are the other things what are the other modalities you do?
Yeah, so along with the readings, I often incorporate spiritual advising.
Okay.
I think I've been gifted a perspective, which is a beautiful tool for a lot
Mhm.
of people.
Yes.
And often, like, I have counseled a lot of couples and
Mhm.
people on my readings are very around empowering someone's path and allowing them to like really embrace their purpose, whatever that may be. And around like the fact that everybody has their own medicine to offer the world. And that's very different for every person. And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to look a certain way. Not everyone needs to be a shaman, you know?
Gotcha. That gotcha.
Yeah.
That's good because I'm not a shaman. I'm a podcast host.
And there's medicine in that
that's my
too.
medicine. Yeah, that's what I'm offering. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, very good.
I also
Mhm.
offer energetic healing massage, which I think I mentioned, but that's more of an in-person kind of thing, whereas the
Right.
readings and the advising I do via Zoom
Remote.
or yeah, phone
Fantastic.
call. Yeah.
So there you go. So listen, everybody. You know what I'm going to say. This lady is a beautiful spirit who has so much to offer the world. And if you feel a resonation, if any of you feel a resonation with this beautiful soul, please feel free to reach out and contact Michaela. So Michaela, do you want to let us know what your contact is, what you have a website? How can people get a hold of you if they would like a reading? Because you can do, I guess you
Yeah.
can do the tea leaf reading by remote, right?
Yep.
And you can do the consultation where you're talking to their spirit guides.
Yes.
Obviously, that kind of
Also
thing is remote.
remotely.
It's just the massage that might be a little more tricky.
It's a little tricky.
But if you're in Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada, look this
Here
woman
I
up
am.
for the massaging service, which is a. Can you describe the massage? How does that work? Like
Yeah, it's so
how
I do
is that?
energy healing as I am massaging, which is based loosely off of the massage practice of Lomi Lomi, which is a Hawaiian massage
Okay.
and works a lot with spiral energy.
Spiral energy. Isn't that interesting?
Mhm.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that sounds really cool.
it's
So
it's a very loving, gentle practice.
very good, very good. So yeah, so for those of you that are in Kelowna, Canada, please look her up. So how would they get a? So yeah, let's find out your contact information.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram and Facebook.
Good.
My business name is Lilith Rose Intuitive Healing.
Okay, and we'll put the links down as well, so people will be able to at soulinspire.tv. You'll notice the links below the video.
Yeah, I'm working on a website, so that's not quite ready yet,
Okay,
but you can
but
also contact me via email.
okay, what's your email address?
Yeah, so it's M Saunders
Yes.
at hotmail.ca.
Very good. M
Tricky, not
Saunders,
.com.
not .com. It's hotmail.ca,
Yeah,
as in Canada.
as in
Okay.
Canada.
There we go. Okay, so we'll make sure to include, for those of you that might have missed it when she said it, please find the link for Michaela's email address, her Instagram, and did you say Facebook? Was that the other one?
Yeah, Facebook is also
Yeah, so you
available.
could contact her on there as well if you want, right? So yeah, so Facebook, Instagram, and you have her email address, and we'll make sure we put the links below this video on YouTube, on soulinspire.tv, right? And that is awesome. So before we wrap things up, Michaela,
Yeah.
do you have something that you'd like to share, like a final note for our listeners and viewers? What is something that seems to be resonating with you these days in your life? What would you like to share?
Hmm.
Something that's on your heart.
Yeah. I I think it's so important right now in a time of where duality is strong.
Yes, more
It
divided than
is
ever, right?
more prevalent than it has ever been.
Yeah.
To like remain centered and in your heart, and to find time to really reconnect to nature is such important medicine for everybody right now. And to really take time to decompress
Hmm?
and allow your nervous system to really calm.
So get out of that fight or flight that so many people are in
Get
right
out of
now.
that fight or flight where
It's not
most of the world is lying right now, in my opinion.
which is not the healthiest state to be in, even for the physical body, is it? It's not.
No, it's so much stress on our physical bodies.
There's
There's
no
so
more.
much herbs and amazing things available to help everybody with those things.
Yeah, so you can ground yourself. Maybe like, have you heard of forest bathing?
Yeah,
Go
there
for a
you
walk
go.
in the forest. That's what I like to do.
Take off your shoes.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, grounding, where you actually are
Yeah,
barefoot on the earth. That's a good
even
one.
like mindful breathing is also such a powerful tool. Just
Mhm.
decompressing your nervous system to a sense where you start to really embrace your perspective and you allow in a truer vision of what's going on around you.
I like that. I like that. Well, Michaela, thank you so much for
Thank you. It's such an
being
honor to be here today.
big time for me as well. Thank you for you to be on the show. And yeah, so there you have it. That's another edition of Soul Inspire. Thank you to Michaela Saunders. I said that right?
You did. Thank you so
Michaela
much.
Saunders for being on this particular episode today. And like Michaela said, she's available for tea leaf readings by remote. You can contact her on the links below. Tea leaf readings. She can also connect with your guides and help you, give you some wisdom on your soul's journey. So, and if you're in Kelowna, Canada, you can come for the massage help, which is a Hawaiian massage, right?
Based off of that. Yes.
Spiral energy.
Lots of
Yeah.
healing touch.
So yeah, so it's an energetic massage. That's what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Michaela.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
And thank you for joining us again on another edition of Soul Inspire. See you next time.